ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. This is a very important instruction which we are receiving from Viduru actually to Dhritarashtra and the Nardas. Both instructions are very helpful, especially this tendency of Dhritarashtra is there in all the living entities. And there is a tendency of Yudhishthir Maharaj also. One is to be so much attached, and the second mentality is without me, nothing works in this world. Without me, how my family will be taken care? Without me, what will happen to my children, husband, wife, like that? So these are the two tendencies that are very, very prominent in living entities, and the Dhritarashtra tendencies is strongly hold on to it. And these two things are cured in this chapter by giving a proper understanding. First is here Dhritarashtra had two reasons he has developed this detachment. We are seeing how he got detached. One is because the Vairagya is getting detached from this material world. Another is devoting himself entirely to spiritual activity. Now we will see that we cannot serve two masters. That we are doing sense gratification also, and we are purposes, we are spirituality. Somehow we are managing. When you are, I also manage do some sense gratification. Now people very often try to compromise internally and live in such a way that their material components or material desires are completely satisfied, and spiritual aspirations that are in everyone's heart are also fulfilled. They are the two vectors that are happening. Now we see that people now in the present age, they are not very attached. We see they are very detached from family, from all this relation and all. It seems that they are detached. Like if you say West, they don't have any much attachment to family and all. Now, but what is happening now? It is becoming more gross attachment. There is a subtle attachment, there is a gross. And more we go subtler, then we'll be able to come to a higher level. This is very gross. Of course, Prabhupada could take advantage of their detachment, but they were attached to and made them into devotees. But of course, what happened is that they could not continue long, many of them, because the structure didn't help. There is subtle family attachments are actually very helpful in the initial stages also, because that will help us to develop in a proper way. But anyway, what are the attachments that people have presently? Is they're very strongly attached to their material image that they have created, and attached to material ideas, and attached to so many things, ego, desires, ideas of how everything should be. And there are also bonds that hold in this world, the material concepts. Now, when we are born, we come naked in terms of body, but we are dressed with so many clothes, the subtle clothes that are there, our ideas about how things should be, and our ideas of myself, what I should do, how people should perceive, how they should spend their lives, all these things. Now, what happens is ultimately the material life ends in disappointment only. There is no life that does not end in disappointment. A person he is now very grossly people trying to enjoy, and from them they come to Krishna consciousness. Why in the West there are not many Western devotees? When proper time there are thousands, now not so many, because the structure didn't help. So what happens now? If in India, why it helps is because we have the structure. Our enjoyment is much more subtler. Subtler enjoyment means how? Say now, if in the house, wife, mother is there, father and children are there. Now mother on Sunday she's cooking 3 4 items and children are helping. All of them come together, they cook nice items, sit together and eat. This is a very, very nice way of enjoying. And there is another way of enjoying is everybody sits with their mobile, whatever they want to, sitting separately and watching and enjoying. And then they order something online and the food comes, they eat and then they go. Now here, both are looks like enjoyment. One is very, very gross and one is subtler enjoyment, because when there is a cooking is happening, it's not just cooking, there is love also involved. So there is some subtle pleasure that gets. They feel the love of their mother. The children experience, husband experiences the love of the wife. This is actually what is very much. So what happens is that helps a person to live in a proper way. And when it happens to be prasadam, that immediately purifies and person will make much spiritual advancement because it is prasadam. That is what is recommended. It should be done in the proper way, not that okay, once in a week they come together and no, every day they are together doing all activities together. Slowly, slowly it helps. Now one person stays here, one person stays there, once in a year or twice in a year they come and meet. So this is what is happening presently. Wife stays at one place, husband stays, because now the system of the society is like that. It is nobody's fault. We cannot say, because people, for them to survive also becomes very difficult if they don't work, and who work means sometimes they have to be separated. So it becomes very gross, but this is a Vedic system, staying together, having a family and all these things. They're actually very helpful for our mind to grow in a more stronger way. It has that ability. Otherwise, it's very gross. West, it looks like, oh, they are detached, but that is not actually the proper way to detach. This is one point I want to make. And a successful life does not happen because if a person lives only for with material attachments, then he will experience inevitable idea that what was all this necessary. This type of understanding comes because material life itself is structured in such a way that in the end a person understands that he reached the futility of all. A person tried to achieve at this some time, but at old age, nobody likes old age. Everybody likes small children. They look innocent and all. Nobody likes old age. And the old people becomes because especially it's very weak and people, this is what Dhritarashtra. In Dhritarashtra case also, uh, here he will start thinking, what was this necessary? Dhritarashtra also, why was it necessary for supposed to uh, I had name, fame, power, all pleasure, but for what? Uh, then if a person accepts renunciation and renounces the world under the pressure of the very material life, then that person is Dhira. And this is actually what happened to Dhritarashtra. Unfortunately, when we live, we cannot even carry dust in our hand. That much also will not come. Everything is actually vain. And what in the young age, na, youth people, they think I am only just knee deep in the sea and I can conquer. And that's how youth does. They do so much nonsense and think I'll be happy, I can make it out. Nobody is successful, and they think that we can do it, we can achieve it. That this type of mentality is there. We can conquer some part of the world, and I also had this thought when I was the college. That time I was thinking, why all these people are doing? I will do something big. But I also saw my classmates until they got married and two children. They were also trying to conquer, but after they got married and they had two children, they understood that there's nothing to conquer. what, what we can conquer is, and then all this enthusiasm reduces for them. And now that is one sort of intoxication, we can say. And now there are some more things. We will just read this purports and then we'll go because we have to complete some of the syllabus. But I will add some more few points, very interesting points, and Prabhupada also makes, and we also need to understand. This is the things. These are the things we need to contemplate regularly. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, "O godly personality, I do not know where my two uncles have gone, nor can I find my aunt, ascetic aunt, who is grief-stricken by the loss of all her sons." Now, this is the second section. Of course, I wanted to add some more point on Dhritarashtra. I'll add after reading few purports. And now, Narada's instructions are also very, very helpful because this is another problem that binds us to the family life. that I need to maintain my family and I need to give that protection. I need to give that love. I need to give that care. This is what also makes us bond. Like when the old people they are living, they feel because of me, the family is united because of me. And that happens also after the elder person leaves, the family is broken. So they feel, but they need to understand that it is Kala Karma Gunad, you know. This is the recommendation that is given by Narada. Vankumata is asking in the previous section, Prabhuji was talking about guidance. Is it only one-on-one guidance, or there are other types of authentic guidance? Now, this is all guidance by Narada Muni. See, if Narada Muni has to come to us personally, came to your house, and he has to instruct, he will give this instruction if because this type of attachment we also have, what Yudhishthira is feeling. So Narada will give the same instructions to us if that point. And when if Vidra has to come to us and we are very old and we are sitting at home, if Vidra has to come, he will give the same instructions which is giving to Dhritarashtra. So the point is the instructions are personal. If we can take it personally, we can take it personally. If we say, "Oh, it's good," we can hear and something philosophy, then it's okay. Somebody may want to whatever way we take it, but if we take it personally, these instructions are personal. Bhagavad Gita also same thing. If we take it, Krishna is talking to me personally. If he comes to me, he will tell again Bhagavad Gita. Then that's how we can take. Or so many people understand Bhagavad Gita in different ways. That's like it. The instructions are personal all the time, especially Bhagavatam for us. Maharashtra is a good soul and devotee of Lord was always conscious of the great loss of his aunt or her suffering as an ascetic. An ascetic is never disturbed by all kinds of suffering and thus makes him stronger and determined on the path of spiritual progress. And this is the way actually what happens now. If a person has lived and experienced that pleasure, then the knots of that pleasure will be cut. Like say, I have some experience to go through. If I go through it, then it will help. Say he has taken painstakingly work hard to maintain the family, painstakingly got their children married, and he has done it properly with proper state, then all that attachment for that type of living will go away. And then person can renounce because he has experienced that pleasure. Like when the daughter comes home, son comes home, or he has taken care of their wife and all grandchildren, then for him to give up will also becomes natural. He understands, yes, this is the pleasure, and he sees that futility of that pleasure also. If he is properly guided and is reading Shastra, is doing sadhana, then for him it becomes natural. Because this material pleasure, na, one of the very nice thing is after some time it will not give any more taste. Like initially there is a attraction between boy and girl, but after that it fades away because this is the nature of material world. So when person sees this, that oh it is no more attracting, then he will try for the higher thing. But now what is happening in material world now? Because they don't know higher thing for alternative for this pleasure, they're trying newer and newer pleasures. And that's why they have so many types of entertainment and all, so many types of intoxication, variety of pleasure. Because the guidance, the heads, Brahmanas are not there in the society. What is happening for people when they are frustrated or their experience of this material pleasure is fading? They're trying to create new types of pleasure like previously there was Rama and Mahabharata and people were satisfied with some Puranic stories and all. But now they want to create newer and newer type of movies with new special effects, new serials, new games, new. Why? Because they want to continue to enjoy. This is very symptom of this Kali Yuga that they are very myopic vision. They can just see only very short distance. They say somehow I want to enjoy, no matter what. This is a problem of Kali Yuga. Previously, it was not like that. If you live properly, just do that much only. And then after 50, 55, 60, a person gets all experiences. He says, yes, good enough. I don't want it anymore. I saw what is the pleasure of this life and I want to move ahead. I want to go for higher thing. But now there is no higher alternative thing. So people only continue with, they think that, oh, this person is enjoying nicely, so I'm not able to do that. So let me take some medicines to get excited. Let me try different methods, drugs, alcohol, or parties, or whatnot. Very pious people, they try to read some newspapers, watch TV in some simple sattvic way and try to spend their life, but not knowing the purpose. That is the problem. So here, uh, uh, here another understanding. Now Yudhishthir Maharaj, before asking, he's appreciating also. He's understanding how much it is valuable and important. We need sadhus who can explain us the things and guide us properly in life. Otherwise, we are always stuck up in this material world very, very badly. If it is not for Prabhupada, na, you just imagine what will be our life. I, I know what I'll be doing. Whole day and night I'll be in front of internet or TV and doing some time pass. That I know, because it was Prabhupada's mercy, we are all saved. That's what here Yudhishthira says. You are like a captain of a ship in a great ocean and you can direct us to our destination. Thus addressed the godly personality, Devarshin are the greatest of the philosopher devotee began to speak. There are different types of philosophers. Greatest of them all are those who have seen the personality of God and have surrendered themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Among all such pure devotees of the Lord, Devarshin Narada is chief, and therefore he has been described here as the greatest of all philosopher devotees. Unless one has become sufficiently learned philosopher by hearing Vedanta philosophy from a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot be a learned philosopher devotee. One must be very faithful, learned, and renounced. Otherwise, one cannot be a pure devotee. See, this is, we all want to be pure devotees. So, for that, this is the recommendation. You should be very faithful, learned, renounced. These all things we all need. And it is natural. No need to separately practice. Just chant Hare Krishna and doing your things. Automatically, we will taste for material things. Now, somebody may be very attached to coffee or tea before Krishna conscious. Naturally, it goes away. Somebody, some food items, some other type of entertainment naturally goes away. So the process is very powerful. No need to separate them. The pure devotee of Lord can give us direction towards the other end of nuisance. Devarshinada used to visit the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthira because the Pandavas were all pure devotees of Lord. Devarishi was always ready to give them good counsel whenever needed. Now, this is the point that this is so valuable for us, the association of devotees, and every day morning we are hearing this 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, very, very helpful. And this is actually a saving grace. If we can understand, this is a saving grace, which will, and our chanting. These two are sufficient. Whole day, you just chant your round before the class, before 5 to 7 chanting, and 7 onwards class, finish. Even you may be doing your daily activities and hearing parallelly, then also it is very, very protecting grace. That's all. No need to do anything separately. But consciously we have to do. Means you need to understand the logic of Shastras. Of course, Prabhuji revises and all. In that way, this is sufficient. The question is, can children read Krishna book? Yes, they should read. Compulsory read. And they need to understand it. Because Prabhupada is writing. And now all of them understands. Okay. So Narada says, Narada Vacha Ma Kanchana Sucho Rajan Yad Ishvara Vasham Jagat Loka Sapalo Yeshyeme Vahnanti Balim Ishitu Sa Sayukti Bhutani Sayeva Vinaticha. He says, oh, now here the recommendations. Of course, I will try to cover some more points I want to talk about the thrust. I'll tell them also because I feel because we will not come back to the thrust. Of course, some other places we may get this type of instructions are there, but this is very, very specific. Means Bhagavatam is not telling Sutta Goswami is not telling the same type of stories and same type of instructions. Every level there are every canto is taking us to a different level of understanding the absolute truth. The first canto is Adhikar Tattva. First canto is meant to give us detachment. This is the very important understanding we need to have. First canto is meant for detachment. How we should be detached from this material pleasure so that we can understand Bhagavatam and we can see the level of detachment. The first speakers are who? Suta Goswami and Saunaka Rishis. Saunaka Rishis are detached and they are having discussions on Bhagavatam. And the next level of people who are little more detached them is Vyasa and Narada Muni. And the highest combination is Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami. How Sukadeva Goswami is detached from the womb only. Vyasa Maharshi is attached compared to Sukadeva Goswami. Vyasa Maharshi is running behind Sukadeva Goswami. And then Parikshit Maharaj, after, in spite of, if you see his level of detachment, he's a very, very detached person. You just have 1 week and you are having a big kingdom and so many things you have. Just to give him send off only, it will take 1 week. But Parikshit Maharaj, he just within fraction of second, even without any second thought, he just left. So that is his level of detachment, such a big kingdom, prosperous and all. And then the combination is the highest combination. Then you can hear Bhagavatam there. So here one of for us Bhishma is living, how he is detached, how Kunti Maharani is detached, and how Vidura is detached, and how Vidura is helping Dhritarashtra to get detached. And then how Pandavas, when they come to know that Krishna left, how they are going to live. So all these things are first canto is giving Adhikara Tattva, so that in second canto, when Sukadeva Goswami is telling, we'll be able to understand Bhagavatam in a proper state. So this is the recommendation that is given to all of us. And this chapter is very, very helpful. I want to add some more points, but before that, we'll just read this purport and then I'll give some more points on the Dhritarashtra. It's a big purport. The Prabhupada writes, every living being, uh, Narada says, O pious king, do not lament for anyone, for everyone is under the control of Supreme Lord. Therefore, all living beings under their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them. This is Lord's bringing and dispersing. Every living being, either in this material world or in the spiritual world, is under the control of Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Beginning from Brahmaji, the leaders of this universe, down to the insignificant ant, are all abiding with the orders of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the constitutional position of the living being is subordination under the control of the Lord. The foolish living being, especially man, artificially rebels against the laws of the Supreme and thus become chastised as an asura or lawbreaker. A living being is placed in a particular position by the order of Supreme Lord and is again shifted from that place by the order of the Supreme Lord or his authorized agents Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, or in modern history Napoleon, Akbar, Alexander, Gandhi, Subhash, and Nehru. All are servants of the Lord and they are placed in and removed from their respective positions by the supreme will of Lord. None of them is independent. This is very helpful. If somebody has addiction for watching news, they can know this. They are very much worried. Who will be the Prime Minister of India next time? No need to worry. Already Krishna decided. You just have to wait. What is Krishna's plan? And then Krishna will reveal. So what is there to be in anxiety? What is there to be watched and what is there to study and all this about politics and all news? Because it's already decided by Lord. So it's just if we are trying to be anxiety and do this thing, it's a joke. Hare Krishna says, why you are in anxiety? Like no, if there's sometime old people, I saw one of my very relatives, very old lady. She was almost 70 plus, and I went to meet her. And she was just sitting in front of TV because her eyes are little big. And she was just sitting maybe 1 meter away from TV and watching. I asked, what are you watching? And she said, I'm watching the assembly discussions that are happening, not even parliament discussion, assembly, the state assembly. I said, for what? I said, no, no, very important. What is your age? 70 plus. But she's in so much anxiety. What is happening to the state? What will happen? No need. Krishna already decided. So it's very simple. Who will be next Prime Minister of India? Krishna already made a plan. You need not do anything. That person stars means he need to have that karma. Na? Whoever has that karma to become Prime Minister, who has a karma to become certain minister, that person will become. So what should I do? Just chant Hare Krishna. So even though such a man or a leader rebel so as not to recognize the supremacy of the Lord, they are put under still more rigorous law by the material world by different miseries. Only the foolish man, therefore, says that there is no God. Maharaj Yudhishthir was being convinced of this naked truth because he was greatly overwhelmed by the sudden departure of his old uncle and aunt. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was placed in this position according to his past deeds. This is another thing. Two important instructions. One is other people they think that without me, how will my family be maintained? Krishna maintains what we are doing, and what Krishna is doing is much more. We it looks like we are doing. Without that also, it will nicely happen. That's what here Narada Muni is trying to help. He has all and our position in the material world is also like that. Say if your child has to get the love of mother and father for certain number of years, the child will get. The mother should get the love of their children for certain years, they will also get. So that is already decided for them. So no need to worry about it. How long I will live, how long they will live, how will this happen? They already are decided by the Lord. According to the karma, it is already decided for how many years the love will come. The son will get this many years of the love of the mother, and after that, wives. No more from mother because he'll have issues with mother. And then how much the children, that is all. The parents will get love of their children till they are put in the old age home. This is already according to their karma. Not that we should not be sympathetic, we should not. What I am telling is we need to be philosophical also. We need to use buddhi when it comes to in some places to understand the truth. We cannot be sentimental in all the places. Should have emotions, but we need to also have philosophical backing to our emotions. That is very much helpful to grow ahead, not to get people become hard hearted. We should not become hard hearted. We should become soft hearted, because when we see things through Shastra, we remain soft hearted. For devotee, it is not karma, but we can understand that it is going to happen like that only. See, according to your karma, you need to get some facilities. When you come to Krishna conscious, you will get same type of facilities almost all the times. But it will happen under the supervision of Krishna. Now, Maya is not looking at you, Krishna is looking at you. That is the difference. But if you see almost same things, almost everything will happen almost. Very some cases where Krishna feels that this is not very good, then he will change. But it is, if you compare with karma, it is so many things are matching. Not 100%, but it may go vary to different people. And it matches what type of facilities, what type of food, what type of diseases, it is accordingly. So sometimes if people, if the devotees, they see their karma chart also, no, it matches. Array, I had a problem at this time and this astrology is showing, and this is there, this is there. It looks like the grahas are also acting, but it's not. It is Krishna graha. Krishna is looking. They think planets are looking at me. No, planets no more look. Krishna looks at you that time. That is the difference. Sometimes such thoughts will bring it. No, that's not the point. It is not inertia sadhana. What happens is, we know the only thing we can do in life is sadhana only. Other things we just do, we just go according to our swabhava. Like say, now I'm teaching. This is swabhava. You just keep me anywhere, I teach only. So my swabhava is teaching, I am teaching. But my important thing for me to do is sadhana in life. But for me, fortunately, sadhana and swabhava is matching because I am doing teaching of Bhagavatam only. But somebody may not have teaching of Bhagavatam. They may have some profession of teaching, but they have to do sadhana. So this is the advantage of brahmacharis, that their sadhana and profession can be parallel, same. But in case of grihasthas, this is the one thing they have to do separately. But only thing we can do in life, anything good, nate with the swartha gatim hi Vishnu. The only selfish activity we are doing is sadhana. Apart from that, everything is waste of time. That's the point. And why, if you can hold a sit and chant, that is the perfection of life, but we cannot do it because our Swabhava don't allow it. If you hold a sit and read Bhagavatam and chant, Krishna is 100% sure he will take care. Srivas Thakur was asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how are you doing your maintenance? Srivas Thakur just clapped 3 times and they said, Chaitanya was, what is that? He said, within 3 times, whatever I need, if it does not come, I'll drown myself tying a stone to my neck in Ganges. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, even Lakshmi will become bankrupt, but nothing will happen to you. Why? Because Lord is the person who takes care. That much faith we don't have. Just sit, chant, and read Bhagavatam. That's why Ardas Thakur told to the prostitute, you just sit here and chant, everything will come to you. He told to Mrugari also. Why the stories are there? That is actually truth, but we don't have that level of realization, and we have very strong power to perform some activity. Like now, people ask question, oh, what happens if everybody become brahmacharis? What happens if everybody become? It is not possible only because the swabhava of people are different, so they act differently only. Now, if you say whole day you sit and read, even I can also not do. He said, Prabhuji, what is there for you to read? No, I need some action in life because my swabhava is like that. So everybody is forced to, if there is a question, if devotees don't vote right people, then how will we get right king or ruler? Krishna will arrange. Means this is the truth. Even if we vote or don't vote, nothing is going to happen. The person who has decided to become king, he will only become king. If some person has to become the next MP or Prime Minister of India, he will only become. It is not because of your voting he is becoming. It is Krishna who is deciding to make. So clearly Prabhupada is writing. See here, uh, all these people, all are servants of Lord and they are placed in and removed from their respective position by the supreme will of Lord. None of them are is independent. Not because of our voting they are placed there. Krishna is telling, probably they are placed because of Krishna. So simple. This is what is our faith. This is our Shraddha. It is done by Krishna is what we understand. It is not because of our material endeavors. We may do, of course, this is a big, I'll don't tell that I have told this, but this is Bhagavatam is telling. I am just repeating. I may not be, it is not very popular nowadays in ISKCON to speak such things, but this is what is true. And they will say Prabhupada told we should start a political party and devotees started also. Yes. Why? Because that type of nature is there in some devotees. They are utilizing in Krishna's service. Ultimately, what will purify them? What purifies them is when what they're reading Bhagavatam and their chanting is what is purifying them. But their conditioning is such a way that they are in a, they want to manage, they want to lead. They are dovetailing in Krishna's service. That's all. Otherwise, ultimately, what purifies is Krishna in the heart will purify. When Krishna will the heart in purify, when he sees that we are trying to hear about him, when we are trying to chant about him, when we are trying to render service to directly, these are the things that Krishna sees and he purifies our hearts, and then that's all. So it's very simple. Ordinary, one cannot change the course of one's. See, this is another point. Please try to understand this. Prabhupada tells everything is there. See, ordinarily, one cannot change the course of one's due happiness and distress by plan. Everyone has to accept them as that they come under the subtle arrangement of Kala or inevitable time. You cannot change it only. There is no use trying to contract them. See, everything is already decided. Like, no, uh, 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 there is something called adrishta for people that decides how much karma you should get. This they call bhagya, no? That is, there's no use of trying to. The best thing, so what to be done? The best thing is therefore that one should endeavor to achieve salvation, and this prerogative is given only to man because of his developed condition of mental activity and intelligence. See, this is the only thing we should do. The best thing is only do this. All things are waste only. Now, if you see humans, now they have this there are three abilities in humans that Lord gives. One is he gave mind. Another is these fingers. See, these fingers we have. No animals have such a fine fingers. Most of our brain, it is actually activating these fingers only. Which part of the brain, if you see. No animals have this because this will help us to perform very fine activities and do something more. And only species who look into the sky. No animals, like some giraffe may look to eat some grass, but no animal will raise his head and look into the sky, except for jackals howling. They may look up. But only humans have this type of ability. That special mind is given to humans, intelligence, buddhi, and fingers are given, and then ability to discriminate is given to a greater extent. So these are some of the, and third thing is fine speech. So these are the three things that are given to humans which are not there in animals: fine speech, mind, and the buddhi, and then our fingers. Okay. Uh, the question is, the level of spiritual consciousness, depth of faith on Lord directly reflects on our sadhana and our swabhava. Since our faith is not well established, that's why jivas get carried away by this swabhava. Yes. Uh, he may have faith, but still swabhava may be very strong. That's why he's carried away. Not that he don't have faith. He may have so much faith, but his swabhava is also very great. That's why people get carried away and they will face problems like that. And somebody's swabhava may be very simple and he may not have more faith, but he will be doing good activity only because his swabhava is also not very strong. Like somebody who is in a Western body, his swabhavas are very strong in wrong direction, many of them. Why? Because they're born in such an environment. Like Bhaktit Maharaj used to chant so many rounds every day. And that's why you chant so many. He says, oh, I came from a very wrong conditioning, so I want to cure it up. Of course, for him it is different. But I had one Russian friend, and now he is no more. He left his body in an accident. He used to chant every day 32 rounds. I asked why 32 every day. He said, so much passion I have. If I don't chant 32 rounds, it becomes very difficult for me to remain Krishna conscious. He had so much faith. His swabhava is also very strong, but he was working very hard to overcome that like that. And for Indian body, who are in India, his swabhava may be not so much bad. He's already born in a very pious Brahmin family. But he may not have Shraddha. He may be, for him, easy to chant, read and all. Swabhava is not very tightly holding, but his faith may be less also. It is related. Uh, Free will of the Lord is not controlled by Jiva. Free will is, that's the only thing Lord does not control. All other things Lord, Lord only arranges according to our free will. I want to remain a rascal fellow. Lord says, okay, fine with me. You remain a rascal. If he says, no, no, Lord, I want to become devotee, he says, okay, well, come then. I will help you, guide you. So whatever way we desire, Lord is reciprocating. He does not interfere there. Only for man, uh, only for man are these different Vedic instructions for attainment of salvation during the human form of existence. One who misuses this opportunity of advanced intelligence is verily condemned and put into different types of miseries, either in his present life or in the future. That is the way of the Supreme controls everyone. How everything is decided by Lord? Decided by Lord means uh, he is uh, he is giving according to our karma. That's why he's deciding. Say now, a judge is deciding what should be the patient. How judge is deciding based on his activity. Similarly, Lord is also deciding based on our activity. He decides, okay, this is going to happen. This is what. So that's how the decided comes based on activity. The decisions are made like that. Mhm. Okay. यथा गावो नसी प्रोक्त तन्याम बद्धांश दामभि वाक् तन्याम नाभि नामभिर्बद्धा वहन्ति बलिम ईशितु. As a cow bound to the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are bound by different Vedic injunctions and are conditioned to obey the orders of the Supreme. Question is, people are using free will to choose wrong people. They can Lord that then can Lord change? No, no, Lord does not interfere. Lord does not. Uh, People go for wrong people. Lord says it's up to the living entity. That is the only choice we can make. See, three things that affect our karma. Okay, karma which comes from past life, which we don't have any control. We already did it. Karma which we create till the age of 4, the impressions that mother gives. So that is the second thing. Now we don't have control on it. Many of them. Somebody who is in the womb until age of 4. That's why mother is given 100 times more respect than father is, because she makes a difference in the child's life. If he has very strong samskaras, bad samskaras from previous life, but the first 4 years mother gives so much love to the child, then the child will not become a rascal. 100% become rascal. So the point is what? But now where is the third level of karma? Third level of karma is which we are creating now. And how we can influence it by association. Basically, karma is how it comes. Karma means association in many ways. Because that is what I associated with. That is what is creating impressions to me. And that is what the impressions are forcing me to act in a particular way. That's how we understand one level of karma. So what comes from past life is that decides our body, our shape of body, height, weight, and facilities I'm going to have, the pleasure and pain I'm going to have, and so many other things that are already decided. Your mother, father, wife, children, house, car. So they are all from previous life. That is, some things are already decided. What type of luxurious life you will have. And now in this life also there are some things which are what type of association we are making. That association is creating impressions. That impressions are forcing us to act in a particular way. Now we are associating with devotees. So these impressions will help us to act in a devotee way, which is going to change. So basically, when people are seeing astrology, what they see is what type of association you had in previous life. And that grahas, they indicate your association of previous life. Association means what? These are the impressions this person has. And because he is impressed, his impressions are like this, he is going to act in this particular way. That's all. So, Prabhupada writes, every living being, whether a man or an animal or a bird, think that he is free by himself. But actually, no one is free from the uh, severe laws of Lord. The, the laws of Lord are severe because they cannot be disobeyed in any circumstances. The man-made law may be endowed by cunning outlaws, avoided by cunning outlaws. But in the courts of supreme lawmaker, there is not the slightest possibility of neglecting the laws. So this is another important thing, that if we do wrong thing, now immediately punishment is there. If you are eating nice fruits, vegetables, not much problem. If somebody is drinking alcohol, immediately he'll have the problem in the liver. If he's smoking, he will have cancer, lungs cancer. If he's eating so much non-vegetarian, he will have cholesterol problem. But if you are eating fruits, vegetables, nice sattvic food, the body will cooperate. So the rules are also made by Lord like that. A slight change on the course of God's law can bring about a massive danger to be faced by the lawbreakers. Such laws of the Supreme are generally known by the codes of religion under different conditions, but the principles of religion everywhere in one and the same, namely to obey the orders of the Supreme God, the codes of religion. That is the condition of material existence. All living beings in the material world have taken up the risk of conditioned life by their own selection and are thus entrapped by the laws of material nature. The only way to get out of the entanglement is to agree to obey the Supreme. But instead of becoming free from the clutches of Maya and illusion, foolish human beings become bound up by different nomenclatures being designated as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, Hindus, Mohammedans, Indians, Europeans, Americans, Chinese, and many other. And thus they carry out the order of Supreme Lord under the influence of respective scriptural legislative injunctions. The stationary laws of the state are imperfect, imitation replicas of religious code. The secular state or godless state allows the citizens to break the laws of God by but restricts them from obeying the laws of disobeying the laws of the state. The result is that people in general suffer more by breaking the laws of God than by obeying the imperfect laws made by the man. So this is very, very nice point Prabhupada is telling. Why people are unhappy? So very simple reason. Because they are not obeying the laws of Lord. That's all. You don't obey the laws of state, you will be kept in prison. Similarly, if you don't obey the laws of Lord, you remain unhappy. So simple to understand. Every man is imperfect by constitution under the condition of mental existence. There is not the least possibility that even the most materially advanced man can enact perfect legislation. On the other hand, there is no such imperfection in the laws of God. If leaders are educated in the laws of God, there is no necessity of a makeshift legislative council of aimless men. There is necessity to change in the makeshift law of man, but there is no change in the God-made laws because they are made perfect by the all-perfect personality of God. The codes of religion, scriptural injunctions are made by liberated representative of God in consideration of different conditions of living, and by carrying out the order of that Lord, the condition living being gradually become free from the clutches of material existence. Now, even to be happy in this material world, na, this is actually the recommendation. One need to follow the laws of God to be happy. Lord is not telling, okay, you didn't come to me, na, I'll show you. No, Lord is very kind. He said, you if you don't want me also, fine with me, but just follow this laws of uh, the laws which I am giving, you can remain happy. The factual position of living being, however, that he is the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. In his liberated state, he renders service to the Lord in the transcendental love and thus enjoys a life of full freedom and even sometimes on an equal level with the Lord or sometimes more than the Lord. But in the conditioned material world, every living being wants to be Lord of other living beings, and thus by the illusion of Maya, this mentality of lording it over becomes a cause of further extension of the conditioned life. So in the material world, the living being is still more conditions until he surrenders unto the Lord by reviving his original state of eternal servitorship. This is the last instructions of the Bhagavad Gita and all other recognized scriptures of the world. Actually, I wanted to share something on the Trashram, I mean that point and detachment and all, but maybe I'll do it in further classes. Uh, because every point in the purport are so important. I am not getting time to discuss all these things. Okay, thank you all very much. We will continue our discussion tomorrow from verse number 43. Any questions, comments? If not, then we will end here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.